The Vera Tommy Show. The Vera Tommy Show. The Vera Tommy Show. The Vera Tommy Show. Let's talk about it. 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 On the Vera Tommy Show. Let's talk about it. Yeah.
If you want someone who can inspire and motivate your audience, you want Trish Carr for your next event.
I am someone who gets results, and I show other people how to get those same results and more in their life, quickly, easily, and powerfully. So all of that is a trick. Here's another one that I use.
Trish's innovative approach combines proven sales strategies with leading-edge behavioral science so that you get past the pitfalls of selling.
Now I have a feel for what I want to talk about to change their mind of what they think they know about what I have to offer, because they are going to have opinions, and your goal is to change them to your opinion.
Her keynotes and workshops will inspire and equip your people to reach new levels of performance in productivity, service, and sales.
This is a great way to quickly engage your audience and put right on the table, this is what's in it for you to listen to me. I support people in getting results in their life.
Trish will give them the ideas and tools they need and the know-how to implement them. She delivers current, relevant strategies in a high-energy, down-to-earth, content-rich, and funny style.
She has an ability to give people the essence of what they need to do to really make a successful sales presentation.
She brings power and she brings results.
I follow her formula to a T, and I love her for it. She makes it so simple, and I am who I am today thanks to her.
She has got it all together, and I want to be Trish on that stage.
I get at those core feelings of, oh my gosh, I have to ask for the money. And I have specific strategies that take you from, oh my gosh, I have to ask for the money, to, oh my gosh, I get to ask for the money. I'm Trish Carr, and I'm the results revolutionary.
Contact Trish at trishcarr.com and see how she can help make your next program, meeting, or event a success.
Trish Carr, yes! She gets results. And I am so happy that you're here with me today.
Me too.
And while we are going to be talking about business and stuff like that, we're at a critical, pivotal point in time in our society. And these are things that we not need to talk about. And I'm pulling up your book. It's just a conversation, because that's exactly what we're going to have today. Just a conversation. But before we even start, I'm going to give you the floor, and I'm going to ask you to share more about who is Trish Carr. Tell us a little bit about your childhood and how it shaped you into the person that you are today. And what gives you your purpose and your passion and your drive?
Oh my gosh, that's such a good question. So when I think of it, so I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, in a neighborhood just the other side of the tracks from the rich neighborhood in New York, which was kind of fun. So I got to see how the other half lived. And I don't know exactly why, but very early on, I was politically engaged. I have to be honest, I think it's because I had homosexual people around me, and I knew that they were being treated differently. I also had many Puerto Rican and Black friends. and I knew they were being treated differently because I walked into a store once with my Black friend, and the sales lady came over to us. I was like 13 years old, buying jeans. Sales lady comes over to us and only spoke to me. What was that? So very early on, 12, 13, I knew that there was something not balanced in our world. And to date myself, I was about 11 or 12 in 1968, when we lost Robert Kennedy, Martin Luther King Jr. It was one shooting after another of people who were the people that I was rooting for change. So I somehow then made a decision that I was going to be part of fighting for justice for other people, because I can't be happy until everybody else is. I mean, it's not that I put my own down, but you know that whole expression about until we all achieve, right? Yes. So I've always been like that, always. My sister Susan calls me the rebel with a cause.
And that's what we're calling this show tonight, a rebel with a cause.
A rebel with a cause.
And I love what you said, when you can't be happy if other people are not. You know,
no.
Why do people fail to understand? We're in this together.
I know.
And we are as strong as our weakest link. So it's important that we lift up everybody. And we got a lot of things that are of concern to us today. And I think I want to start, because we're going to be talking about how important this election, every election we say, this is important.
Right. I'm right. Since I'm 12, I'm hearing that. I was so happy when I could vote when I was 18. But yeah, it is important. You're right, Vera. And look, the only thing that we can do right now is let our voices be heard in the ballot box. And, you know, it doesn't, what do you want our country, the people here, how do you want to enrich lives? You know, we all agree, all of us agree that we want our children to be safe. We want them to be educated. Everybody wants love and acceptance and caring. We all want to take care of the people who can't take care of themselves. We just don't agree on the how of all those things. So if we can, in this conversation and in all conversations when we have disagreements, let's remember we all just see from our own view and our own lens. So just because my brother, who I just got off a Facebook rant with, just because my brother is choosing to vote differently than me for the 30th time in my life, right? I can't hate my brother. I don't like that we have a disagreement, but I know he in general wants the same things I do. So
absolutely.
Well, let's remember that as we go through any conversation that we get into tonight.
Absolutely. And Robinette, hello. Thank you for being here. She says, good evening, ladies. Very excited to hear about you, Ms. Carr, and your business mindset model. She has a great business mindset model. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. But tonight,
let's talk about voting.
Yes, we got to talk about voting. And speaking of which, let me just go ahead and play this right now.
Why should I vote? No one takes note, is what we hear some people say. While lying, divisive, insensitive, misogynistic, manipulative, hate-filled, evil politicians go on their merry way. They show they don't care. Behaviors we should not continue to accept, actions too shameful to bear. The slaughters, the bombs. This is our reality. This is not fake. How much more will we choose to take? Why should I vote? It won't change a thing. Change is what your vote must bring. Why should we vote? People died for the right. They fought by day and night. Death would not have been the case had it been for the right of a different race. If our vote did not matter, if right was not right, why was there such a fight to prevent it? Why was there such heartache, misery, and pain? Who is to benefit? Who is to gain? Let's be clear. Your vote is exactly what they fear. We can change the trajectory of what is happening today, getting the attitudes and behaviors we don't need or want out of office and out of the way of justice, liberty, and freedom for all. Without your vote, we are all about to fall. Refusing to vote, you really have no say. Willing or not, accept come what may. The hate and lies will continue. Maligning our governmental systems and free press will have no end. Disenfranchisement and voter suppression will win. The attacks will persist, possibly escalate on our children, women, the old, sick, and many of our men. Why should you vote? Please take note. Your vote matters more than you know. It's the only way to show those in power we will not take their corruption and evil anymore. It is our way to speak truth to power. Speak truth to power. Speak truth to power. Now is the time. This is the hour.
We're here today to speak truth to power. And we're going to start because I know you shared with me your response to your brother. And it is so fitting for
Oh my gosh.
sharing with our audience what needs to be shared today.
Yes.
And we're talking honest conversations today.
Yes.
All
And again, it is so easy to see through your own lens. So what I want to mention is that when we talk about politics and corruption and lies, it doesn't matter what side of the aisle you sit on, you see corruption and lies on the other side. So no matter whose picture is on a video, that's the belief, is that there's corruption on both sides and the other side should go to jail and they're doing everything wrong. So my brother says in his message on Facebook that he is not a fan of the Republican candidate, but he does prefer that candidate's policies. So I was like, really? And that's what it comes down to, is what do you believe in the policy? What do they stand for as your leader? So my response was, you mean policies like Muslims aren't allowed in without big red tape? Women can go to jail for having an abortion and having no morning after pill as a recourse. LGBT are being treated like third-class citizens again. Banning pornography and imprisoning anyone who distributes it. Slashing federal money for research and investment in renewable energy. Eliminate all terms from laws and regulations that mention sexual orientation, gender equality, reproductive rights, diversity, right? Next one, I said, they want to end diversity, equity, and inclusion programs in schools, which the president 45 did when he was in office. Right in the middle of the George Floyd situation, he removes DEI training from people who work in the government. And then I said, he wants to end diversity and equity and inclusion programs in schools and government departments. And then I got real. Because I'm white. And I said to them, and I said to him, I imagine most of you agree with that one, the one of having no diversity inclusion programs. I think you agree with that one because you don't want to give anyone a leg up because you don't think you've had an easier road. So why should they? Of course you don't think you've had an easier road. You're white and will never know unless you confront your whiteness.
Ooh.
Now, I'm white, okay? I am an ally, but I am not Black. But I have done everything in my power to educate myself as a white woman to see the racism that's inherent in our culture that we just don't see. It's so pervasive, you don't even know it. I did a show for during the whole George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, all of the things, but Breonna Taylor, and now there's more. You don't hear the names anymore, unfortunately, but it still happens. And I had women on the show to share their experience, Black women, white women. It was sisters to sisters. And one woman who's married for 30 years, white woman, married 30 years to a Black man, was disowned by her family when they first got married. They were clearly bigots. She knew it going in, but who knew she fell in love with a man with brown skin? So the families worked through it. But she said to me, 30 years I've been with a Black man, and I still get a feeling I should cross the street when there's a Black man walking behind me. 30 years, because she was brought up in a household that held people of color in a totally different way and saw them as scary and all those other things. So it's so inherent. I am a racist. I know this. And worse, I don't even know when I'm being a racist.
Wait a minute.
I'm serious. There are times, like there are things that you just, like, okay, so I am now educated, so I don't mess with a Black woman's hair and I don't tell her bizarre. And, we don't go into all that stuff. But I know that I will tell you exactly one moment I thought about it. About a year and a half ago, I was watching tennis. I'm a big tennis fan. And there is a tennis player named Tommy Paul, who's from the United States. And he's white, good tennis player. There's another man from the United States who is a Black man. Now, the first time I saw this Black man on the court, he was wearing his cap backwards. And I said to myself, well, that looks like a thug. And then I saw Tommy Paul 2 days later, a white man with the same backwards hat. And it never occurred to me he looked like a thug. So that's what I mean. That's what I mean. I'm freaking enlightened, and I do it all the time. All the time. Thank goodness my niece is so alert. I mean, she's really careful. She's like, I said, let's powwow about that. She goes, that's cultural appropriation when you say powwow, because it comes from Native culture. You don't think these things. I mean, even minor changes to, we talk about what to say and how to say it and using the right minor shift from Black people were slaves to Black people were enslaved. What a shift in the feeling in the culture. Slavery was your fault almost, right? So anyway, in my answer to my brother, he did respond to me, by the way.
Oh, did he? What did he say?
He said, Trump does not support a national ban on abortion. It's a state question. So my answer to that was, that's BS. That's just plain old BS. And then he said, DEI, yes, I'm against it. I'd rather see meritocracy. Research in renewables, yes. Unrealistic mandates, no. Politically, our views are very different. However, I still maintain that with hard work, discipline, and a good work ethic, and a modicum of intelligence, you can succeed in the USA. For those truly disadvantaged, I support helping, truly. So
what does that mean?
So that means that everybody who is using public assistance or people who shouldn't be there, they should make them work. You know this whole story.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, I grew up, so I told you my upcoming, when I was growing up as a teenager, my mom was a conservative. My mom voted for Nixon, all that stuff. Meanwhile, I was affected even though I was younger, I had older friends. I was affected by my friends being sent to Vietnam for a war that they didn't believe in. And at that time, I lived in New York. And in New York, especially in the Wall Street district, there were all kinds of fights between construction workers and activists who were holding signs against the war. So that was what my surrounding was. So I have always, how is it fair that your birthday is pulled out of a hat and you get to go first to Vietnam? What? Like, it was just crazy. So today, while we still have wars and people are still dying, and I don't even want to go into what's happening in Gaza and Israel right now, but we both know there's a genocide happening.
Yes.
And I'm never saying that Hamas was right for doing what they did. Of course not. Nobody does. It was horrific. But do you condemn a whole race of people for that? I don't get that. So anyway, today, here's what's important. Today is choosing, what do you want your life to look like in the future? Now, we spend a lot of time on, Vera, on talking about the president. But when it comes to voting, there's an election before the president in most states. Do you know that? Like, that's where you want to pay attention.
Yes.
You want to vote for your local state legislatures, your commissioners. You want to vote on all of the amendments that go into your state constitution, because all of those changes at the lowest level bring the change up.
Yes.
Right? If we want abortion to go back to the states, then we need the states to say, wait a minute, this isn't right. We're going to make it legal. And there'll be so many states doing it, which is what happened in 1970. And by the way, no one wanted it to go back to the states. I saw a debate where the Republican candidate said that. That is untrue. I was part of that debate. Okay. So you want it to go back to the states because you don't want responsibility for it. That's why. You don't want it to be something. It's so easy for you to not lead and say that. The other issue that we really must look at as a culture is, how are we taking care of our families and people who are dying from guns?
Yeah.
Guns.
Yeah.
108 gun deaths a day in the United
States. Let me put this in the chat.
Yeah, and that was as of end of 2023. 108 a day. As of February 15th, there were almost 5,000. Now, let me come clean. Half of those were deaths by homicide and accident. The other half was suicide. Now, whether or not they had a gun or not, they'd figure it out. I don't know, but it seems such an easy access on an impulse.
Yes.
Right?
And yes. And Robinette, she says, Miss Carr, your awareness and authenticity is on target.
On target. Yeah.
She says it's very
apparent
that you are affecting change.
I'm doing my best. And honestly, we talked about my business mindset and all that. My business, Women's Prosperity Network, was created in 2008 because it broke my heart that women were getting fired because that was this recession. Women were losing their jobs. Also, I worked with a lot of women who were secretaries and clerical people, and they had less money coming in than I did as a manager, but they could have gotten assistance. Like the people my brother's mad at, most people I know didn't want to be on assistance.
Right.
But when they worked, it was really challenging. When they had to go get help from the county, they had to take a day off to go and do it in person. What is that?
Yeah.
So what employer is going to like that? So I saw what was happening to women in that economic area, and what was happening to women with jobs who now I have no job, but most of them have gifts and talents that are transferable to something they love rather than something they dread for 30 years. So
Yes.
Women's Prosperity Network was built and created to, number one, create a community of women acting like women who are successful in business, women acting like women, not women acting like men being
Yes.
successful. And then the other thing was that they could take what they wanted to do and make the difference. So
Yes.
everyone in Women's Prosperity Network is making a difference in some way, shape, or form. Even if they're selling insurance, they're making
Yeah.
sure that you don't pay any more than you have to, and you get the absolute best deal. And every one of them comes from here.
Yes. Yes. The beauty of WPN is, and she says, checking it out. Yes. Tell them that you heard it on the Vera Thomas show.
That's right. Tell us you heard it on Vera Thomas.
Yes. And the thing is, and it reminds me of a quote by James Michener when he said, the master in the art of living draws no distinction between his work and his play, his labor and his leisure, his mind and his body, his education or his recreation, his love or his religion. He hardly knows which is which. He simply pursues his vision of excellence through whatever it is he's doing and leaves it to others to determine whether he's working or playing. To himself, he's always doing both. And so what WPN, Women's Prosperity Network, does, it allows women to tap into their gifts, like you said, their purpose and their passion, no matter what it is.
Right.
You know, and that's the beauty of what WPN is all about. And there's nothing worse than being in a job that you hate.
Right.
That impacts all other areas of your life. How you eat, how you sleep, how you relate to other people, how you even relate to yourself. And so having an organization like WPN it includes training, it includes networking, it includes opportunities for women to showcase what they do to others. I mean, it's just a phenomenal organization. And Robinette says definitely she's going to sign up.
Awesome.
And beautiful. Yes.
That's
It's
awesome.
a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. And Vera, you really hit it on the head. It's a place where we come together and learn and grow together, because it's not enough to know, okay, I know how to cut hair and now I'm going to have a salon, or now I'm going to bring people to my home. It's not enough. You have to learn other things. And here's a very interesting statistic. We all know that there's a pay gap in the genders. Right now, I believe the glossed over number is women make 82 cents for every dollar a man makes. If you're a woman of color, it's 74 cents, first of all. So that's 8 cents difference. The other thing about women in business is that in 2023, we created about half of new businesses for the third year in a row. And the most recent statistics said that the share of women-owned employers increased. It's just getting bigger and bigger, but the news isn't all rosy, because even though women-owned businesses performed well last year, there is a profound earnings gap between women-owned businesses and male-owned businesses, 34%. Wow. So now we're talking 86 cents for every dollar. Why is that happening in women-owned business? Do we not know how to sell? Are we stupid? No. And this gets broken down into people of color as well. So don't tell me that there's equity. You know, a man, I love them. I'm married to one. I love him. But just like my brother, who's white, he cannot see unless he allows himself to open. Same thing with white men when it comes to women. And the misogyny, you know, you're seeing a lot of misogyny and blatant racism now with Kamala running. Yeah. Kamala. I have a friend named Kamala. So Kamala. So yeah, with Kamala Harris running, we're seeing somebody wrote that's their DEI candidate. Did I say that already?
Yeah, you did. You mentioned it before we started Yes.
Ridiculous. That's what they're actually putting out there. How could you not think? I don't think, how could I, that's a racist statement.
Yes, it is.
I know. So it's gonna be an interesting time these next few months, and I know the heat's gonna be turned up, and I just urge you all to consider what's best for you and the people around you, and don't just believe the public relations and marketing.
Please say that again.
Do not believe the public relations and marketing. There is a gentleman who's running for Senate in Florida. His name is Clickman. And I got one of these flyers in the mail, and I always save these flyers so I can look up, who is this person? Are they really who they say they are? This is what I do. And by the way, because I do that, I have a lot of people calling me, who should I vote for? Who's on the ballot? Why did you pick that person? That's what they don't want to say, oh, it's the Democrat. No, I don't want to do that. I want to know who's the right person. So I look up this guy, and this ad was sent out by a PAC, Political Action Committee, for the Republicans. This guy is a Democrat. And the flyer said, Clickman gave $30 million to Trump campaign. He's given thousands to Republicans. When I looked it up, he's a lawyer. The firm he worked for, which he is not a partner at, but just a lawyer, gave money to the campaigns. He personally has given money to Democrats. So they take everything and lie to you.
Yes.
Everything's a lie. And it's a lie from Biden, too. They all lie. You have to figure out who's telling the truth as you want that truth for you.
And as Trish does, do your research. Don't just take what you're hearing. Do your research. Our democracy is at stake.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do your research. Don't listen to every single thing. Like what was happening when Hillary was running, and how they said that she had some uncouth kind of thing happening in a pizza parlor. And people were believing that stuff.
I know. But the other guy can grab her butt and her titties and kiss her whenever he wants. And that's okay. But here's my brother. My brother, what most people say is, I'm not voting for the man, I'm voting for the policies. You're voting for the party because you're rich. That's what I want to tell my brother. You're rich. That's why. Just admit it. You're one of the 1%. That's the truth. And the difference between the bottom 1% and the top is the greatest it's been in almost 100 years. The last time the difference between the top and the bottom, and here's the thing, the bottom people on a graph, our money stays pretty, their money goes up, goes down, goes up, but it's billions we're talking about.
Right.
So the difference now is greater than it was during the roaring 20s, which was the stock market, the prohibition, the the recession, not the recession, the big one, what's that called? Depression. Yeah. Right. All of that happened before that was the roaring 20s, and the difference is like that. Yeah. So something is coming. We all know it. And again, you're whatever you believe, but don't believe everything you hear, because it's a lot of misconstrued.
Yeah.
I can tell you that on the flyer, it did have a little asterisk on the bottom that you could read. And it said something like donated by, and then the name of the firm. But what does that mean to me? I don't know. Right. Even this lady sounds so good. She's running for judge, bipartisan, have no idea. I want to know how she rules on things. I want to know, is she somebody who's really going to do the things that I think are right for our community? These are the people you want to pay attention to. The president is really important, but the reason that the Republican Party owns the elections for the last 50 years is because in 1992, when Bill Clinton was elected, Newt Gingrich, who was the Speaker of the House at the time, came up with a contract with America. Similar but different from, what do they call the other one? Is something 25? I can't believe I can't bring it to my head.
Project
Yeah.
2025.
Yeah, Project 2025 is what the platform is now for the Republicans, even though they're trying to distance themselves from it.
Right.
It looks like a theocracy, which it is. But in 1992, something very similar happened. And the Republicans did something so smart. They learned from baseball. Baseball, you play in high school and you go into the minor leagues and they groom you, and then you go to the next minor league, they groom you there, and then they bring you up to the next one, and then they have candidates. We on the other side don't do that well. So they have a plethora of people who are trained and ready to go. And here's the other thing that somebody pointed out to me. While there are more Republicans than Democrats, more Democrats show on big elections. So again, I really don't like going into the party thing, but to me, this is so clear this time. So clear, you know? And so the thing is, we got to show up, or we got to sit back and take whatever happens.
Exactly. And what we need to understand, do we want to continue to hear the hate, the attacks, personal attacks from someone who is already a convicted felon?
Please, prosecutor versus the felon.
Yes.
That's the memes I'm seeing now.
Yes, and it's true.
You know, I have to tell you, so I've been alive a long time, and I have been involved in this since the late 60s, okay? I'm in my 60s, although I'm really a cool 60.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the worst I've ever seen us divided. Even during the Vietnam War, families didn't do this to each other. There are families that don't talk to each other anymore.
Yeah.
I could not talk to my brother because he votes differently. That's so ridiculous. I've never seen a division like this. And it's up to us to heal it by seeing other people's points of view, even if we don't agree.
Yes.
I don't agree. And here's the truth. You don't agree to what they see, and they don't agree with what you see because they're reading different magazines. Think about it like that. They're watching different media.
Yeah.
So one media is telling you the current president is corrupt. The last presidential election wasn't real. The other media is telling you the other guy's the worst. He's demonic. He's going to turn us into Hitler. You know, they're both giving you the hardest side of it. There's a middle ground somewhere, and you have to decide what's your important points. For me, human rights, women's rights, people's rights. I'm sorry. For me, that's number one.
Absolutely.
I'll always find money.
Right. But those things are so critical. And like you said, you know, when one of us is suffering, all of us are suffering. And we see when there's a tragedy in our country, people rally together, they come together. But now we've got this divisiveness that's really killing us. Mm-hmm. We are going to implode if we don't get it together. Love is the key.
Yeah. And it's still going on. It's still going on. Don't believe just because you don't see it on the news anymore. Sonia Massey, a young woman in Illinois, called the cops because she thought that there was an intruder in her house. And for some reason, the cop murdered her. That just happened, and nobody knows about it. So don't believe everything you see because, number one, you're not getting everything.
Right.
Second, they're writing copy to sell you their point of view. And while they may not seem like they're blatantly lying, for example, when the Republican candidate said during the debate that in Virginia, they have rules right now that you can kill babies after they're born. Blatant lie, right? You have got to make sure you pay attention and stop
Yes,
following the rhetoric. I
absolutely.
get it. I'm following my rhetoric. I do know that.
Yeah, but your rhetoric is about justice.
And
It's
I'm
about freedom.
educated. And I'm
And
educated. I don't
yeah,
just buy the stuff they put out on television. So anyway,
yes, we got to do our research, people. You've got to do your research. Do not rely on what you're hearing in mainstream media. And also there are several people on YouTube, the Midas Touch. I love them.
what are they
They
about?
they are attorneys that are bringing truth and speaking truth to power. One of the attorneys represented Kaepernick, the guy, you know who I'm talking about, um, the football player that was removed
Oh,
for
yeah,
for.
Kaepernick. Yes,
Thank you,
Kaepernick. You're welcome. I'm a football
thank you.
fan and a political girl. I know both of those.
And so he was one of his. He was his defense attorney, and that particular YouTube channel, they don't mix, they don't mince meat, or if that's even a word I'm supposed to use. But
No,
they
no.
they speak truth to power,
Mm.
and then you got Roland. He speaks truth to power. You got the law defenders, they speak truth to. So don't just listen to. Oh, and also I absolutely love. Why am I having problems remembering people's
I
names?
know how that goes. It happens to me too.
Oh, Kurt. Oh, anyway, it'll come to
It'll
me.
come to
In
you.
the meantime, I do have a commercial I have to
Yeah,
play.
let's do that. And then when
And
we come back, I want to talk a little bit about the vote and how little we realize what people did putting their lives at risk to get us the vote. So let's talk about that a little bit.
yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Been feeling myself for a minute. Hallelujah.
Hey there, Jason McNamara here, and I'm about to drop something truly game-changing your way. Are you tired of the same old 9-to-5 grind? Feeling stuck in obtaining the life you deserve and craving something more? Well, listen up, because I've got something you will not want to miss. Introducing the No More 9-to-5 Club Professional Membership, your ticket to freedom and success in the entrepreneurial world. With our professional membership, you'll get access to weekly coaching sessions, pre-recorded trainings, and a vibrant community of fellow game changers. You get access to technology that will allow you to automate passive income streams, as well as unlock all of our expert-led trainings in the back office so you know where to go for good advice when you need it. You will also use the club to build up a residual income stream with a 2-tier 33% affiliate commission unlocked at this level, allowing you to help people help themselves while generating a residual passive income stream for yourself. And here's the kicker. For a limited time, you can unlock all of this just for a $1.11 donation to our club foundation.
I like this one.
Your first month is on us. So what's holding you back? Click the link below, make your donation, and let's start building the life and business of your dreams together. Here at the No More 9-to-5 Club, we're all about turning dreams into reality and smashing through those glass ceilings.
That's what I'm talking about, Jake.
Whether you're a seasoned entrepreneur or just starting out, we've got the tools and support you need to thrive and evolve. And don't forget to sign up for our bootcamp training. It's the perfect way to kickstart your journey and unlock even more perks. So what are you waiting for? Join the No More 9-to-5 Club today, and let's make those dreams a reality. I can't wait to see you on the inside. You only get one now. Invest it in your better future. Let's make magic happen together.
Let me say, No More 9 to 5 and Women Prosperity Network. These are organizations. Now, No More 9 to 5, men and women are a part of it. And it's an opportunity for you to support veterans, For $1.11, you can check it out and go through the website and look at what they're offering. They do masterminds and training programs. They look at ways for residual income and those kinds of things. You want to check out No More 9 to 5. And you do want to check out Women's Prosperity Network. Both of these organizations will take you to the next level. No more 9 to 5. All right. Now,
yeah, no more 9 to 5.
Yes. So let me.
I love that name of business. Isn't that great? No more 9 to 5.
No more 9 to 5. Yes, yes. Even though there are people that have 9 to 5s with the intent and understanding that there's more. There's more. And
I love that. And I'm so happy that I get to see so many of those women at Women's Prosperity Network. Rita, oh my God, Rita Thomas, 12 years. She was working part-time and doing her business part-time. After a year and a half with WPN, she quit her job. And she's making more money now than ever before. And hello, she's doing what she loves. So it can happen for everybody. Right. And earning a living. You know, it's, you know, when work feels like play. You know, I'm a big Bruce Springsteen fan, and he always says, I got to play my whole life.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I did. I played. You know, I want to play the same too. So I'm a big player. I like playing.
Yeah, so do I. And and it's coming. It's coming. It's coming.
Oh yeah. Well, it's prosperity is yours. You just have to be open to receiving it.
Absolutely.
And see it coming your way and be grateful that it's already on its way to you. And then just take whatever steps you need to take to get there.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
You want a new house, you have to at least look on Zillow.
At least.
You can't sit in the lotus position and put it on your dream board and get a house. Although maybe some people can. I just never was able to do that.
You have to take action.
Yes, you have to take action. You have to take action. So what do you want to talk about? I would like to talk a little bit about voting just for a sec.
Yes, please do. I'm giving you the floor.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So voting. As a woman, I want to remind you that 60 women went to jail and were kept in jail. In fact, the main woman, Alice Paul, was for the first 24 hours, they tied her hands together and held her up like that. Look, you get to see my rolls. Had her keeping her. She was literally, they were tortured. They were force fed, would put food tubes down their throats because they went on a hunger strike. The only reason women got the vote, because we had been fighting for the vote for over 50 years. 50 years when we finally got them to listen to us by these women going to jail. The only reason it happened was because a really committed group of activists were willing to push the envelope. And what do I mean by that? So during the AIDS crisis in the 80s, there was a lot of AIDS organizations, but there was one organization that pushed the envelope and changed everything, and that was ACT UP. And what they did was they were in your face with this is what's happening. The women did the same thing. The 50 years we tried to get the vote was run by women who just kept saying, let mama vote. I'll vote your way. That's what it was. In fact, they called the women who were trying to get suffrage, they called them suffragettes. So it would diminish them with a female term. So never refer to them as suffragettes. They're suffragists. And they put their lives on the line so that we can vote. And you're going to stay home because you don't like either of the candidates? Get over yourself. Yes. And if you're going to stay home, don't ever let me hear you complaining. Ever.
Absolutely.
You have no right.
No right, no say. If you're not taking a part in what's happening in our country, don't complain, just like you said, because you have no right to complain because you chose not to take an action.
That's right. That's right. And you know what? I'm over 21. I'm white. I don't need an abortion. I have money. I have medical coverage. Why am I fighting like this till my dying day? because I know what's right and I know what's not.
Yes.
That's
Absolutely.
it. So you
And
have to say, look at what's right for you.
right. And what's right is every woman should be in control of her body.
Here,
No
here,
matter
sister.
no matter whether I believe in abortion or not,
It's
whether or
not up
not
to
you,
you.
but it's not up to me. It's
That's exactly
between that
right.
woman, her doctor, and her
Right.
God. It's not
Exactly.
up to anybody else to tell somebody how they need. If we decided to force men to have vasectomies,
No. Think about this. A woman, every time she has sex, takes the possibility that she's going to have an illegal procedure. That's what's going to happen. It's happening already in about 15 states. Or she's going to have to leave her state, but then they're going to criminalize it. So every time you have sex, you might have to have a child for the next 30 years, or you could give it up for adoption. Are you kidding me? So if a man, every time he had sex, had to say, for 30 years, you're going to have to pay for this kid if you get one, they'd probably do it anyway. But you know what my point is, right?
right? Yes, but
they'd probably
oh my
do it
God.
anyway.
Yes,
They have one of
yes.
those heads that doesn't listen to reason. I love you, man. I'm just, we all know it's true. There's 3 ways to make men happy: fun, food, and the other thing that starts with F. That's it.
Right.
Fun,
Right.
food, and that other thing. You do that,
Right.
they're very happy. They're very simple creatures.
Right. But to want to impose their thoughts and
Yeah.
feelings on a woman, it's
No.
just there's nothing right about that. To want to remove books from schools, there's nothing right about that.
That's
to
right.
want to eliminate the Board of Education altogether,
And the EPA.
and the EPA,
Yeah.
and they want to restructure our Justice Department.
Yeah.
And he has immunity in
Right.
the event that he chooses to be a criminal, which he
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, all of that. Those are the things that scare me the most, are the executive
Yeah.
orders, the immunity, the Supreme Court completely being stacked, all that stuff.
Yes.
Those are the things that bother me the most. But it's just, you have to remember, things change slowly. It took 50 years for the people who wanted to overturn Roe v. Wade to do it. And they made a concerted effort, and more power to them, they got it done.
Yeah.
Now, it's going to take time to turn it back, especially since the court is a lifetime appointment. So when you voted for George Bush, and when you voted for the last president who was Republican, and when we let the Republican Senate get away with telling President Obama that you have a Supreme Court appointment, but you're a lame duck. The Supreme Court justice opening happened in February. His term was not over until January.
Right.
Why is it that he couldn't appoint someone? Because the Senate stopped him. Never in history has there been such a division between sides. And I do have to say, I believe that Joe Biden did a good job of bringing people together.
Yes,
because
he
he got
did.
many things passed. It's all about compromise. It's all about, hey, let's do this. We agree on the problem.
Right.
Let's find the solution.
Right.
Stop. I'll tell you, I was talking to a state senator recently here in Florida. And he said, you know what we're spending our time on in Tallahassee? You know those little scrotums that hang from the back of a pickup truck? They want to ban those. And we're spending hours talking about that.
What?
I swear. That's what he said. They do not talk about what's important. You know what Wanda Sykes said? She's a comedian. I love her.
Yeah,
Wanda
I love
Sykes.
her.
Look her up. She's awesome. She said, unless somebody's coming into a classroom with the grapes of wrath and beating your child to death, we're spending time on the wrong stuff.
Yes.
Because those book banning, what is that? We're turning into a theocracy, and that's not what we're meant to be.
Absolutely. And the thing is, if children don't know our history, we are bound to repeat it.
Well,
and so
I hear you.
And actually, that's what they're trying to do.
Yeah, I know. But all we can do is right now get out and talk to people who are in the middle. Talk to your friends who are undecided. If you have an opinion, no matter what side you're on, if you have to pick sides, talk to people in the middle. Have conversations with the people that you know. That's how we move along as a culture. It's by having intelligent conversation where we don't get all upset and we don't let our emotions get in the way. And that's what's happening here because it's the rhetoric of campaigning.
Right.
It's just rhetoric. Just realize what's important to you. Why is immigration important? Let's talk about what we can do there. Why are women's rights important? LGBTQ rights important? Why do we want to take care of those who can't take care of themselves right now? How can we help people who've been redlined from mortgages since 1950 to get houses? What do you mean redlining? There's no such. Yes, there is.
Yes.
Still goes on.
Yes.
Still
Absolutely.
goes on.
All you have to do is go in the cities, and see the how people are congregated.
Yeah.
That's all you have to do.
Yeah.
To know. As a matter of fact, there is a person right now that moved into a white neighborhood that is now facing racism to the point of her car being filled with some type of poison.
I know. What is that?
What is that?
I don't know. I don't know why people do that. It's like I brought a third cat into my house and the other two cats went after him. That's the same thing. That's not a cat like us. He's not one of our brothers. Let's go get him.
Right.
I can't tell you, Vera, when I was doing Sister to Sister, 18 months, I did the show every week, week in, week out, every Tuesday. I heard stories like that. Like, we're having a party in a suburban neighborhood. The kids graduated high school and people called the cops on us. Like, no, that's just not right. And it's just because when I looked at that tennis player and he had a black skin with a hat backwards, he looked like a thug. It's the same thing. And unless we see it, it's not going to change.
And awareness precedes change.
100%.
And we cannot change what we are not willing to acknowledge.
Exactamente. Exactly. So thank you for having this conversation tonight. Thank you for giving me the license to be free in my views and share. I will tell you, there have been people who said to me, oh, you shouldn't post that on Facebook. You run a business. I know I run a business and I want people to know where my heart is.
Yes.
I want you to know that I care about other people. And when I see people blatantly being abused, I can't stand by and not do anything about it. So thank you for letting me.
Thank you for being here. Yes, we needed this conversation. Before we leave, I do want to let you know that tomorrow is the day for the Mastermind preview, Nurturing Relationships, Strengthening Bonds for Fathers. It is a hybrid so that you, no matter where you are, you can get on the Zoom. If you're in the Ohio area, Akron, Canton, Massillon, and surrounding areas, you can come to the Urban League and do it face-to-face. Here is a testimonial from a father that was at the last one.
Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Donovan Tobert, and I'm a motivational speaker and father of 2 young children, ages 3 and 5 years old. I just got off my first session with Vera Thomas, and it was extremely mind-opening. And I say that because I'm currently a full-time single father myself. I have full custody over my children, and I'm doing it all on my own. And I'll tell you this, half the time I feel inadequate as a 30-year-old father figure, and I feel like I'm always not doing enough half the time, right? And I've learned so much from Vera, like just in this first session. And I just say that as men, we're so focused on conquering the world, making as much money as possible, sold on that dream of providing for our families in a major way financially. And we have this thing that we're not doing enough if we're not there financially. But sometimes we just miss out on the bigger picture, which is the small, insignificant things in our own view that we're neglecting along the way, like just reassuring our kids and reading to them, giving them responsibility, helping them become their own adults, helping them to manage their emotions at a young age so that they don't have to be angry teenagers, And things like critical thinking, like we don't think these things in the midst of time. And I'm extremely grateful for the opportunity to speak and learn from Vera, because my advice is that any father listening to this, that if you crave a stronger bond with your children and your young adults, and you want to take that step to the next level, hear what she has to say, and you'll be amazed on how powerful your presence is when you just get help from somebody who can bring that greatness out of you that's already inside of you. Thanks for watching, guys. Talk soon.
I hope to see as many fathers as possible at this mastermind. It's from 11 until 1 p.m. And I'm telling you, this young man started implementing things before it was even over. And so please join me tomorrow at 11 o'clock. Trish, I'm going to give you the last words. Audience, have a great weekend. We will see you on Tuesday. And please, if you're not registered, there's still time. Register to vote. Your vote matters more than you will ever know. All right.
Yes. And since we're talking leaving with the vote, let me turn you all on to a really great documentary that was done by Steve Waxman, an Emmy Award-winning documentarian. It's called the Go Vote Project, govoteproject.net. And on there is a documentary that's released in such a cool way. So it's like 10-minute snippets about each part of our history. So you don't have to watch the whole thing, but you can look at where did the word bloomers come from? You'll find out in the suffragist part. So go to govoteproject.net, and I will see you at Women's Prosperity Network.
Yes,
thank you.
I'm putting that there for you all. God bless you all. And thank you again, Trish. If you don't mind holding on for a brief moment while we close out. Good night.
The Vera